Okay, so today we are going to be using Adobe Premiere Pro, and we are going to learn how to import video and then do some quick razor cuts and moving of clips around. So I'm going to go to my Windows Start button, and I'm going to open Adobe Premiere Pro CC 2018, and we're going to wait patiently for that. So I'm going to locate my two files. There they are, counting. I've got a counting pick and I've got a counting vid. And so, okay. And so we're waiting patiently. Adobe Premiere Pro is going to open. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a project file. And the project file is a working file. It keeps all of the information about our video clips or audio clips or pictures or images or titles, the order that we want them in, other information like that. It keeps it all together. So that's a project file. Project files only open in the software, typically only open in the software that they were designed to be used for. And so they're not finished products. And so in order for us to actually watch our video when we're done with it, we actually have to export the video. All right, so we got this. You should have a splash screen, an intro screen. Still waiting patiently. Here we go. All right, so here's some of my other files that have recently opened, so I can open one of them again, or I can come over here and I can do new project or open project, team project, open team project. So we're going to do a new project, and it should ask me some questions about what do I want to call it, where do I want to save it, things like that. So the name. So we're going to call this one counting. Okay, so I'm going to call this project counting, but I'm going to put my name in the file, so that way James or Louis, start with your last name, Louis _ James _ counting. Okay, make sure you're in the right directory. Okay, where you want to save it to. I'm going to save it to my practice folder. If you need to, click the browse button, and so browse through. Start in your documents. If you save things to a D drive, or you save things to an external drive, all of that. So you can save it there too. Double check the information you want for your video, audio, and your capture. DV is digital video. We're not doing any camera capturing, but if you hooked your camera up to your computer, you could use that. You could, how do you want to display information for your time code? I'm good with time code. Audio samples, I'm good with that. Scratch disks, so that while you're working, is that it saves data a lot. It saves the work in process data. It's like, so sometimes you got to give it some information about where do you want those scratch disks, and those can fill up pretty quickly, especially if they don't get deleted. I'm good with my scratch disks being in that practice folder. Ingest settings, I don't have a clue, so we'd have to look that up. So go back to my general, keeping everything at the default and clicking OK. So now it's going to pop up. Yay! Any second now. And it's going to have a little unsweet tea. Some good unsweet tea. All right, so I've got my starting window panes. I can go to my window, to my workspace. I can change how I want my workspace to look. If I need to go back to a saved layout, I can go back to reset to the saved layout. If you do change your layout, it's like it's going to go back to what you saved it as. I don't recommend you saving it. And if you do, then I recommend you make a custom one for yourself, put your name on it. So that way it's like, it's yours. That's what I recommend. All right, so now we're ready to start working on our project. So first thing we need to do is we need to bring in some what are called assets. Our assets are going to be our video, music, pictures, things like that. So I'm going to go to File. I'm going to import. Okay, it's going to go to the directory I most recently used, which was this practice one. I need this counting video raw, and right click, and I need this, or actually I held the control key down and I left click on this counting pick, so I'm selecting both. Okay, so there's one. I can open them one at a time. Okay, it's going to import it. Okay, or I can multi-select. Okay, so I can multi-select and bring things in, holding the control key down to multi-select. Okay, when it imports video, it does a quick little check of it. Okay, and so you can see how it kind of scrubs through. It allows me to kind of preview what I've got. If I want to see it, it'll pop up here in the source window. I just kind of double click it, and then it gives me the ability to, see what I got. Okay, all right, same thing. I double click that. It's going to bring it up to the source window. Over here, the program window. This is the one that I'm actually editing, okay, and I'm working on. Down here are my timelines and my what they call sequences. Right now I've got nothing, no sequence. So I need to create a sequence. And just as a reminder, you see the asterisk, up here. That asterisk means it has not saved recently. Okay, so let's make a sequence. So I'm going to come here to the new item. Okay, so I can make my sequence clicking on this new item, or I can come up here to File, New, and then I can do sequence there as well. So I'm going to call this, normally I'd like to have what's called a main sequence, and the main sequence will have different sequences inside of it, but I don't think I'm really going to have a lot of anything. So I'm just going to go ahead and call this one main. So this is my main sequence. If I have different scenes, maybe I've got inside scenes, outside scenes, dining room scenes. Maybe I've got the football field scene, hallway scene. If I have different scenes, sometimes people will refer to them as chapters. But if I have different sequences, like in a movie that I'm making, and that movie could be a documentary, it doesn't have to be fiction, is that I would probably title my sequence names after that. So I've got my main sequence. Here's my main. All right, so now I just need to bring my assets over from the library. Well, right now I've got this set up right here to where it's set up as what they call the icon view. I personally am a big fan of what they call list view, okay, to where it's like I can see it this way and I can see some data there. So I'm going to change it over to list view real quick, but that's the icon, which is nice because you can see like a little bitty graphic of what it represents. So I'm going to go back here. Okay, I see this. I can create folders and bins. Okay, and so a bin is just a folder, so I can have a folder for video. I could have a folder for pictures or images. I could have a folder for audio. So I can have all these different folders. And then what I can do is I can then drag my items into the actual folders. Okay, and so I can close them to kind of clean it all up. And so I could actually make folders for each sequence, so for each scene, so that way I can keep all of my assets, my video, pictures, and sound for each sequence together, so that way it's easy to find. All right, so coming back to sequence, I got my main, so I start dropping stuff down. So in my main, I'm going to start with my counting pick. So I just left click and I pull it over. See, when I grab it, right now it's like it's got a little fist, and so when I bring it over here, it's like it doesn't want to let go right there. See, it's got the no, but when I bring it over here, it's saying yes, and then I have the ability to put it on multiple layers. It defaults to show you 3 layers. However, you can insert more layers. You just got to come up here. Actually, I think over here, you just do a right click. Yeah, right click and add a track. Okay. And so that refers to these as tracks. I call them layers. Okay. So I just dropped down my picture. Normally it defaults to be 5 seconds, which equates to 4 seconds and 29 frames. In the way that I've got my video set up right now is that I'm running 30 frames per second, but it starts counting at 0. So 0 is really the first position, 29 is the 30th position. So 429 is really 430. And then because when it gets to 50, it's like that's 5 seconds. So 429 is a full, stops at 5. Okay, but anyway, I can't see that. It's very small, okay, with my old man eyes. They used to be cool, and they'd have little bitty mountains, hill, and then a mountain, and you could do a slider up and down to zoom in and zoom out to that. But, for whatever reason, they took it away, and I can't find it. So I'm going to come up here to the sequence drop down, and I'm going to look for zoom in and zoom out. Here's the zoom in and zoom out. It's got shortcut keys, the equal sign and the hyphen. Okay, they're both up there on the number pad, up there but close to the numbers at the top of your keyboard. So when I'm down here, I can press equal, and it's going to expand the view. I like that. Okay, so that way I can see. Okay, and I've got my timeline right here. It's where there's my 4, and I come out here to 5. Okay, and there it is. Okay, but anyway, so I've got my picture. I got it down. I can see a little better. Now I'm going to bring, but again, this is big. So I'm going to click on this that I want to work with. And then I'm going to come up here. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to double click it. Okay. So I'm double clicking to resize it because it's huge. Okay. And I need it to be smaller. Okay. So I've got the little dot there. I'm going to left click. I'm going to drag out to a corner. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's your right or left corner. I'm going to grab the corner. I'm going to hold the shift key down so I can proportionally resize this image. Okay. And so the reason I'm holding the shift key down is because I remember from using other Adobe products is that it likes to hold the shift key down to keep things in proportion. Okay, I'm going to take, actually I'm not holding the shift key down. And so see, look, and so apparently it does keep it in proportion to the image, which is nice. All right. So I just want my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to show on the entire screen. You can always resize your finished viewing window depending on what you're making your movie for. If you're making it for smartphones, TVs, widescreen, 4K, 640 by 480, stuff like that. It's like you have the ability to change the size. Okay. So I've resized that. It's a little lopsided. So we're going to come over here. There we go. It's a little bit more centered. Okay. So I'm just going to do the best I can to get it centered. All right. So there we go. We got that. So that's resized. I'm going to scrub it through the timeline. We're there. I'm going to zoom this out a little bit. So I'm going to hyphen or the minus key. It's next to the 0 to zoom out just a little bit. I'm going to come down to I'm going to minimize my pictures folder. I'm going to open my video folder. Now I'm going to drag out my video. Okay, there we go. Now I've got my scroll bar so I can scroll through. I'm going to go ahead and minus key and zoom out a bit again. I'm going to come through. I'm just going to scrub it real quick, see what I got. Oh, it's really huge again. So that means I need to resize it. Okay, so I'm just going to click on it to highlight it. So it's highlighted, double click here to activate, let it know that I want to work with that. I'm going to come up here to the corner. I like grabbing at the corner and it just makes me feel safer. And I'm going to bring it down. Shot this on my phone. Okay, so you just need to remember when you shoot things, it's going to show your different aspect ratios. Okay, aspect ratios being your width by your height. Okay, so we're there. Okay, all right, so I see that. And I'm scrubbing through and I'm seeing that I'm writing numbers. But what I noticed is that I wrote them out of order. Oh no, so I need to put them in order. Okay, I also noticed that I still have my audio in the background. I don't want my audio in the background, so I want to delete it. So I click on it, but it highlights both the video and the audio that's there. So I need to separate the audio from that video track. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to click on unlink. Okay, I'm going to choose unlink. Now I can also go to, I think, sequence. When I have the track selected, I think I can go to sequence and then, no, I got to clip and then under clip, I've got unlink. Okay, so now what that did is that unlinked the video from the audio. They're now separate. So now I can, if I wanted, I could mute the audio and I could have muted the audio while they were still linked. But because I'm just wild and crazy, I'm just going to click on it and I'm going to delete it. Okay, so I've now deleted it from the timeline. Now that does not delete it. That does not delete it from the raw video, from the original video that's over here in the library. Doesn't delete it from there. It only adjusts it on the timeline. Okay, so you're safe. So anything you do on the timeline does not affect your raw video. All right, so we got this now. So now I need to cut things up. I'm going to come over here to my toolbar. You have different tools you could use: Ripple Edit, Razor, Slip Tool, things like that. I'm a big fan of the Razor tool, but that goes back to, back in the good old days when they used celluloid film and they would cut things, and so I like to make cuts. So we're going to come here to this first one. I'm going to make a cut there. We're going to see what I do. I draw 3. Okay, then I'm going to cut there, and then we're going to go to there. And we're going to cut there. There's a 1. And we're going to cut there. There's a 4. We're going to go just before the pen comes up there. And then 4. I'm going to cut there. And then to cut there. Oh, I love it when they do
Attention
announcements.
students, just a reminder that today we are administering the biology mock end of course exam.
Yay.
All students who are enrolled in biology will be testing today. Testing will take place in the red and blue learning
We're going to cut
communities.
there.
Tester lists with room assignments are posted around campus. Teachers, please be sure to check the list that Ms. Farris sent out of testers. If students are taking their first period and should be testing, send them to their testing location. Because we are testing upstairs morning classes,
Gonna cut
that
there.
have been displaced. Refer to the displacement list posted through the building to find out where to report.
We're gonna cut there. All right, so now I'm gonna come back over here and I'm gonna get rid of what I cut. Okay, so I know I don't need this, so I'm gonna delete that. I want that. I don't need, wait.
We will not make any more announcements.
Okay, I need the two. Wait, okay, I need that. In there, delete.
Biology mock end of course exam.
Delete. 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 And delete. Yay. Okay. It's got a little bitty FXs on the video clips. I don't think the Adobe Premiere Pro used to do that. I think that's kind of new for Creative Cloud. And so, I mean, it's kind of neat, maybe because we did a cut on it or something like that. And just remember, if you screw something up in Adobe products, which is very nice, is that you can edit undo. I don't remember what the magic number is. It's like 30 undos or something like that. We'll need to look that up. Okay, but you can edit undo, Control Z a billion times. So I can go, let's get off of that. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. I can keep going. Okay, but that's not what I want. I want to get rid of it. So I'm going to come back and say, nope, 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 nope. Make sure it's what I wanted. There we go. We want that one. I think we want that one. And we want that one gone. So now I need to place these in order. Okay, so that's a 3. So I've got my selection tool. So 3, 1, 2. I'm going to move it up here. I'm going to move it over there. Okay, 1. So I'm going to move it down here. Okay. Now, because this is a layer, I'm seeing this layer on top of that layer. Okay, because it's a layer. Okay, so if you want to be able to see through layers, you need to make sure your layers are transparent. And so mainly for graphics or special effects or something like that. Okay, but it's not. Okay, so I'm moving it over so I can see what is this supposed to be. That's a 4. Okay, so 4 is going to go after 3. I'm going to move it up there. Come here, that's a 5. 5 goes after 4. Whoops. Nope. Control Z, Control Z. There we go. And I want it to snap. Is it snapping or is it covering? It makes me nervous. There we go. Okay, so I moved my timeline indicator, my TLI. And sometimes, we'll see the TLI, the timeline indicator, as being a red bar. Okay, but I moved it there. And then we got 2, it snapped to the line. That's why I moved it there. So I'm going to move 2 over here. Snap. I'm going to select all this, move it down. Oh, I'm going to come here, move the timeline indicator there. There we go. So multi-select all those, left click and drag. And then we're come over here, timeline indicator there. We're there. And there we go. So I'm going to play on the playhead. I'm going to press play. Oh my God, that's like forever. That is forever. I can't do forever. I can't do 5 seconds of watching my title. So I'm going to come here to, we're going to go to 2. So let's come here. I'm going to type in 200. 200. Okay, move my timeline indicator to 200. Get my razor tool. I'm going to cut, and then I'm going to delete that because I'm not spending 5 seconds of my life watching that, but I will spend 4 seconds or 2 seconds of my life watching that. Okay, and we're going to bring it. Oh, look, we got a little air gap there. We're not interested in air gaps. There we go. Now I'm going to come up here to the program main, and I'm going to press play on this little playhead so I can rewind, step back, whatever. So I press play. Counting with Professor Tex. Yeehaw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my gosh, that's long. And the end. All right. It's not great, but it pleases me. Stop. Okay, there we go. It pleases me. Now, in the off chance that I wanted to, I could always come down here and I could add a voice track. See, like right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And wicked feedback. Dude, that was some wicked feedback. And see, we got wavelengths. Yeah, I don't think so. That ain't gonna work. So we're gonna come here, we're gonna delete that. That was crazy. All right, so I've got an asterisk up here. The computers tend to die. Your not so friendly neighbor sometimes presses the pretty little white light on your computer screen and turns off your computer. So I'm gonna save. So I can either do a Control S because I already have my project name saved, or I can come up here and go to File, Save. So I've just saved my project. Remember, a project is only this information that's saved here. It's the timeline information and the stuff in my little library, my project library over here. But now I need to export it to turn it in. So I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Export, Export Media. And we're going to come here. We are going to, the video is 27 seconds long. We're going to scrub through it real fast to see if we're seeing anything. I don't see anything. That's not good, is it? That's not good. So we're going to press cancel. I think what happened is that I didn't have anything selected. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to click once on my intro screen. I'm going to press Control A to select all, or I can just do a left click and select it all. Okay, but I'm going to do a Control A to select it all. Now I'm going to go back to File, Export Media. Ooh, now I've got something on the screen. I'm going to scrub it again to make sure I've got my video. Okay, I got my video. It's 28 seconds, 28 and 25 frames, 28 seconds, 25 frames, which matches up over here, matches up there. Okay, I'm going to check how I'm naming it. Is that I want to save it as a format H.264. That's the new, it's a new format, relatively new. It's about, I don't know, about 5 to 8 years old or something like that. And it's used for the web. And so it's replacing Flash video. So that way you don't have to use a Flash plugin to play your video. It converts it as an MP4, but it's an H.264. So it'll play on Apple, Android type devices as well as the web. And we do have MPEG-4. If you wanted to export this for Blu-ray, you could do that. If you wanted just an uncompressed AVI is typically considered a raw video file. It'll do that. If you're going for a QuickTime movie file or a Windows Media video file, you can do those as well. Ping is just an image. You could do it as an animated GIF somewhere in here. I think it gives you the option, animated GIF. And so it's not popping out at me, but that's okay. Oh, there's GIF. Okay, so you got that. So we want H.264. Our name, okay, is that our output name? I need my output name to be last name, first name, hyphen, last name underscore, first name, hyphen, and what would we call it? Counting, okay, counting. Now, the reason it chose main is because main was the name of the sequence that we were using, okay? That's why it did main. You have some of these other little buttons that you can click on to double check, and usually I leave them at the defaults. And then Q just kind of puts it in line if you're doing like a batch process, a whole bunch at one time, like maybe running it overnight, because it's rendering the video, and rendering video can take a while depending on how big your video project is. But I'm not doing that, so I'm just ready to go to click export. And so now it's going to export. 29-second videos taking approximately 10 seconds to render, meaning that it's putting it all together seamlessly in one happy file. So put it in one happy file. Let's go see if we can find it. And we called it Louis_James. Where did it go? We're going to refresh, even though it's like it should have popped up in here. So I got my counting raw videos, Black History Month, nameplate. Ooh, I'm not seeing it. So let's go look, see where we put it. So I'm going to select it all again. File. Right now I'm just looking to see where it went. Export media. I'm gonna click on main. Oh, it was going into the 20. It was going into this folder called videos. That's cool. Cancel. So let's go now. Now we're gonna go there. So we're gonna go up. We're gonna go to videos, and there we go. We're gonna double click it to make sure it works. And whatever default video player that's on here, it's running it in there. And there goes my pretty picture. Okay, good news. I stripped the audio, so I don't have any sound. Dun, 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 dun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the end. All right, excellent. And minimize, close, minimize, no asterisk, meaning that the most recent save has already been done. And that's it. If you have any questions, please ask.